I like that vest, Bill.
Oh,
Looking
thanks.
sharp,
Well,
man.
you gotta play the part, right? And I got my Spartan
Yeah, I
warrior behind
see
me.
that. It's awesome. That is awesome.
Well, you were one of the most popular CIO guests, and you and I go a couple of years back. We've had a lot of
Yep.
fun with your journey to running a major local organization as originally the security leader, and now the CIO, and of course by default security as well. But let's talk about what your thoughts are with the current crisis and some of the wins and some of the things that you're using to really amplify and change your organization. And maybe start out with a little bit about your organization and you, just so that our guests know a little bit about you.
Sure. So I am the CIO here at Henry M. Jackson Foundation. We are congressionally authorized to do military medical research on behalf of the government. So we have multiple programs under us and these programs consist of HIV research, Ebola, Zika, and now we're pivoting towards COVID-19. So we work with a lot of our government partners out there to look for medical devices, vaccines, et cetera, in the military medical research space. Wow. And we've been around since 1981. Ronald Reagan actually signed us into law, and we've been doing this ever since. So we have great partners with NIH, Walter Reed, CDC, to name a few.
Wow.
And my role here is, like you alluded to, Bill, is I started here as the CISO, and now I am the CIO here, running about a 2,800 employee size company and about $500 million in revenue.
Fantastic. So what's your takeaway for the first couple weeks here, and what are some of the kind of the lessons learned, and what are some of the things that you're really focused on now, and some of the leadership capacities that you're in?
I think a key takeaway here is vendor relationships are extremely important, and without good relationships with your vendors, you will sink rather quickly. And this goes from vendor relationships from everywhere from, your ISP to collaboration technology if you're teleworking, and all the way down. So what we had to do is we had to scale up rather quickly here because like any other company, right, not everybody is teleworking, only some of the population is, and there's a cost associated with that, and there's licensing fees and all that. So we had to engage vendors rather quickly from remote technology, from ZPA, which we deployed. We are a Citrix shop here, and we had to, what I wanted to do was put a great emphasis on user experience. And, it's very difficult already for our employees, to deal with the COVID-19. And on top of that, I'm sure they're stressed and worried. Can they even work? Can they work from home? So
yeah,
the user experience was very important to me, and I needed that to be seamless. So people were not worried. They have a lot of stress. They're not worried about losing their jobs if they can't work. So we deployed ZPA, which is a VPN type technology with Zscaler. It really authenticates you in with the applications that you are authorized to view and see. So it's a little bit more secure than VPN. So that was a great win for us. But again, that's just one thing that we had to deploy. And we had to expand licensing on, for Teams so people can collaborate on Teams, Skype. We rapidly upgraded our VoIP system as well, so we could get into it will allow us in the future to start deploying soft phones for remote workers. So the single platform, they could do everything, collaborate, talk on the phone, and do their job functions on a single platform. So we're pivoting towards a soft phone realm now.
So the Zscaler enabled you to do sort of like an SSL VPN sort of published application approach.
That's it.
Have users that are on Office 365 and Teams, and then a soft phone. Soft phones so are all users able to do their job from home, or is it like 40%, 70%? Like I'm sure there's a business process impact too, right?
Absolutely. And us being in the research space, some of our employees do sit on DoD medical treatment facilities, and these things are very restricted, right? They're blocked out for the rest of the world. So these guys, the people that are actually working there are essentially quote unquote essential employees. So they have to go in. So to answer your question, Bill, not everybody is remote. I would say if I had to guess, about like 65% of our employees are remote right now or have the remote capability.
Yeah.
But you go down to the researchers, the doctors, and the scientists that are actually working in a lab that is isolated and cut off from internet access. They have to go in, right? These guys are dealing with a lot of different animals that they have to deal with, vaccinations, so it's very sensitive information that you're just
it's not like you can bring the anthrax home to work on it in the basement and test it.
That's it, right?
Oh wow. So what about you mentioned vendor relationships as like if I could drill into that just for a moment as a catch-all phrase. No, I guess not all relationships are treated equally. What have you found has been something that you're going to watch moving forward is guiding the organization? What does it mean to have a strong, robust relationship versus one that's a bit more tenuous to you?
I think if I take a step back from that question, I think all relationships are important, right? Even the ones that are not the greatest, just from a BCP perspective, right?
Yeah.
This has really highlighted business continuity in situations where there's a global pandemic. And that's what's really brought this up to the forefront for me is, BCP and disaster recovery is always on the back burner. People are like, hey, I'll get to it. Nothing's going to happen. It's similar to, hey, I'm never going to get cancer, but
Yeah.
you eventually probably will, or you'll die from it, So it's the same thing. Is like, hey, it's gonna happen. How are we prepared, and then how do we move forward with that? So this was I wouldn't say a great exercise, right? But it's a live fire drill. But it's really great. Gained some traction with my team. The importance of BCP.
Yeah, it's really interesting with what's happening because. From our side, people have been dipping their toes in the water about cloud and cloud security, and really, from a tabletop exercise, this happened a lot. I remember after 9/11, there was a lot of this going on within our financial services practice and everything, because guess what? It was live in everybody's consciousness that the towers came down, and like we had to prepare for a resilient enterprise. But now, holy moly, not just getting masks and ventilators out to the population, but like scaling and have the elasticity within our businesses to be able to accommodate a 70% burst in remote work. And then do we have the infrastructure and all of the capabilities to support that? It's really stunning.
It is. I mean, Bill, you raise a great point, because we actually had to engage our ISP to open up our bandwidth to open up our pipe, because we were already anticipating it's going to be a heavy toll with remote workers hitting our system. So that was the first step that we took, just as far as, hey, are we good? We don't want to see any performance degradation or anything like that. And to your point, the cloud is huge win for us. I mean, people are always worried about, hey, should we go to the cloud? Should we not? Do we do a hybrid solution? But at the end of the day, talking about BCP availability. And that's what the cloud offers, is availability. And us being in the Office 365 space, being in the cloud, that part of our business was not impacted.
It's just interesting knowing you coming up through the security ranks into the CIO ranks. It's interesting how we've been spending years protecting against the digital viruses. Now to have the biological ones, it's like you got to come in from both ends now.
Right. And now we saw already an uptick in, malware that's targeting COVID-19 that's taking advantage of that. So, I mean, we've already been targeted with that. So, I mean, it's coming from all ends now.
Well, I really appreciate your perspective on these vendor relationships and sort of your lessons learned and this is wanted a quick snippet of how you're leading and winning and despite these challenges. You and I have talked about this a lot in the past, and leaning into adversity and celebrating the chance to shine in the midst of running towards the gunfire, and really helping the organization. And this leadership opportunity is really extraordinary, I think, for top leaders. So you slot right into that, in my opinion.
Appreciate it, Bill. Thank you.
Well, best of luck to you and your dog. I know you've got this great bulldog there right at your feet, and I just love it. And have a great day, and look forward to talking to you in the future.
Likewise, Bill. Stay healthy and stay safe out there. I wish you and your family the best.
Thanks, Riz. Take care.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.